So my name is Charles-Philippe Bernard. I work for JP Morgan. I'm working in Glasgow for JP Morgan. And today I'm going to talk to you about mastering prompt engineering. I try to click on the stop notation. Here we go. So prompt engineering is the art of crafting. Wait, there is more than that. Anyway, so prompt engineering is a practice to actually engineer how you're going to interact with LLMs. That's mainly the idea. As you can see, you can also create not only text, but images, videos, sound as well. And there has been a lot of debate about, is it a real engineering field? Is it something that really requires an engineer, even that is the real work on its own? I would say, I think it is. Does it qualify as a sole kind of role and only expertise? I'm not sure. I think we should be all very good at prompt engineering these days, particularly, if you want to, if you work as a software engineer. So everybody is a prompt engineer because everybody is using ChatGPT, okay? But the real deal is, if you want to get the most of these models, you want to do like very, things that are very, to my point of view, feels like magic sometimes, that you need to like bump up your skills and how you do prompt engineering. So today I'm going to talk to you about something I've been doing. It's probably my kind of most personal talk because last year I wanted a pet project and I decided I'm going to remaster a game I was playing when I was 7. So I'm born in 1980, so it's in 1987. That game is a French game, SRAM. And that game was my ChatGPT moment, because that's a game when you interact with text with the machine. So you have scenes, and you have a storyline that you need to follow. And to interact with the game, you need to type text. And the game will give you this feeling of it understands what you're writing. So as advanced as today's LLM, for me, when I was 7, it was magic. So going back to prompt engineering, going to cover different things, how you create a persona, how you manage the state of the world. So particularly in the game, obviously, you have a state. Where are you in the game? What is the different items you have collected? What is the state of the different NPCs or the scenes, because the scenes can evolve. And we're going also to cover NPCs, how you interact with NPCs. And that one is for the last, like the end, I would say. So let's get started. So my game remaster is running on Godot. So Godot, for the ones who don't know, it's open source for building games. It's like Unity or Unreal Engine, they're the same. That's SRAM. So because it's a remaster, obviously, that's the OG game. I hope it's not burning too much your eyes, because it's very red. So I remastered not only the game, but also the graphics. These are the people who have been doing the game. I've been able to contact them actually on LinkedIn. It was quite funny, because they want to carry on that project without kind of their blessing. And let's get started, okay? So when you're here, what happens behind the scene is I'm running Ollama and Llama 3.1, and I'm interacting with the game. So I'd say, describe. And then I'm going to get a response from the machine, which is going to like, okay, describe what? So describe the scene. So the model I'm using is Llama 3.1, 7 billion, which is good enough. It's running on my machine local. But sometimes it's it's not giving me the expected output, I would say. Okay, you're standing in a dense forest, all trees surrounding you. There is life with the shaping. So I have that tool that I have created. That helps me capturing actually what happens behind the scene. What is the instruction I send to the LLM to actually give me that response? So before I cover that part, quickly I show you my prompt template. So this is in here. This is my prompt template. So you see, as it starts, you are the game master. So this is the main persona of what the LLM is meant to cover. Of an epic text-based adventure, your name is Game Master, and your job is to narrate the adventure. So that's setting the tone. That's very important in your prompt to give a sense of what you're expecting, the role you're expecting the LLM to endorse when it's going to respond to you, and the context. Then the second thing I want is a formatted output. I need a JSON output only. So I need the speaker ID, because normally the game speaks back. So it has different voices depending on the NPC or the Grandmaster. It has a text, which is the response that you've been seeing on the bottom of the game, and an action. So sometimes you want not only the game to respond back, but also to the LLM to tell the game, do that. So to have an action corresponding of what you've been asking to the LLM. So this is my prompt template. So why I named that a prompt template? Again, very important, because that's reusable. Because as you can see, it has different parts. You see it's structured, but it has also like variables. And this is, for instance, where I'm injecting the scene state, the inventory and things like that, a description of the scene because the scene is changing, and maybe other things. If the scene has some NPCs or different things, depending on the scene, then I'm adding more to that. Like you have additional NPC instructions and things like that. So let's go back to the instructions in here. So as you can see, the begin of text, started all of that. This is specific for Llama 2.1. That's the way it's expecting to have system instructions. So you see what I've been showing you. You are the game master. Then I want the output to be in the JSON format, how to play. This part is always present when you send the prompt. The guidelines, speak humorously and wittily. So I'm adding up to giving to the persona of the game. I want 2 short sentences maximum. So I want short answers. I don't want like a big big text output. And then, as you can see, it starts to have some part which are the NPC dialog handling. What I wanted to show you is, I get to the scene. So all of that before was general instructions. This one is specific to the scene. So I explain it's a dance forest, there is bird chirping and something like that. And there is some actions we can do. And I think like the action you can do is actually climb the tree. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go back here and let's say climb the tree. So while it's doing that, it's going to climb the tree. Okay, now I top the tree on the branch. So this is now the instructions I'm sending to the LLM. So what I change now is sorry, I need to say something to, no, sorry, you need to see the output. So you see the output I was getting, climb. So that's the action that has triggered the change of scene going to the tree. I can resend it, the same instruction I've been sending that made me going up the tree. And then you can see actually what it is doing, like, streaming the, so that's quite consistent, it's working. But sometimes you're going to see it's like giving me the wrong action or like making up actions that don't exist. So look at the nest. See another game. I've been playing that game multiple times, even like 40 years ago. You see there is a knife here. Take the knife. And now that normally we have the knife, let's go back here, and you're going to see that I have an action here which was knife. Okay. So translating like what I was asking into action. Now, if I go back here and I do climb down, that's the part I'm going to show you the state of the game. Because now you're going to see that now I'm injecting the inventory, the list, and the inventory is containing the knife. So let's go back here. So yeah, you see now, in part of the inventory I have the knife, which means I know the game knows I have the knife. Every time I'm going to send the next instruction, I will tell that actually the knife is one of the items I have. So let's go back here and let's go east. So that's one of the things you can do. Obviously, you can navigate through the game. So one of the actions I'm doing here is actually moving. I show you. See? So the action is east, and again translate that into changing scene. Okay, so now we are facing a character. That's the part where not only the game master is interacting with you, but you can normally interact with the NPC as well. So let's describe the scene again. So the persona that you're going to get as a response is still the game master, but normally it should be giving me some pointers of who is there. So who's that? Okay, so I know the name, it's Fergus, a leprechaun standing in your way. I say, hi, Fergus. Okay, so you see the change of tone because Fergus, I mean, I hope it's not offending people, but it's speaking like with an Irish accent. So if you go back here, you can see actually that they have a new part now, which is the NPC, which is describing Fergus. It has a speaker ID, which normally I'm using for having a this different voice that the Scrum Master. Personality, mischievous and funny with a like Irish accent, and it has some behavior. If I'm asking, you must respond in character, respond conversationally. Hey, Fergus, what's your deal? I give some examples, a few shots. That's a technique you need to use quite often, is give an example of what you're expecting. So it helps steering the model to give you the answer, but sometimes you're also spitting out the same example you were giving. So that's the bit that you can face. And yeah, so that's the part I need to go with that. Let's go now to the part where I'm going to attack Fergus. So that's part of the game. Effectively, if you attack Fergus, it was very important in the game, so you're literally deadlocked now, and then you lose. So that's the output you're getting in here. You see, you're getting to the action, the result of your action was death, which triggers like the game over. And then you start over the game at the beginning of the game. So you see I don't have the knife anymore, and I'm a bit like stuck. Let's go east. So part of the things I've been doing as well is adding cutscenes. So if you whistle, that's a bit, I would like it to hallucinate a bit because usually it's hallucinating, so I can show you hallucination, but it works quite well, sadly. So let me show you really what happens here for that scene. So see, inventory is now empty. There was no items for the inventory yet. That's an interesting technique. Instead of making like that section blank, write something telling that there is actually no items. It's clearer for the model that there is actually no items. Obviously, the NPC part have been, going away. For the action, you see if you whistle, you can trigger the action pigeon. So let me try to see if I can get it not doing pigeon. It's doing pigeon. It's doing pigeon again. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to explain here is where I'm saying I'm expecting hallucinations because I'm using a temperature of 0.8. So part of the things you want to do when you want to steer the model and have actually adhere to your instructions is how you configure. You have other parameters, but let's focus on the temperature. High temperature means very creative, but also can make up stuff. Low temperature or 0 is trying to have the most likely output, which is normally the most expected output. Here I want two things. I want a structured output. I want some creativity in the answers, but I want also the model to steer and keep to stick with the different actions. So I'm in the middle ground here where I want creativity, but I want also the model to be very, giving you the same answer over and over. And it's hard. And it works very well today, but I was willing it not to work that well. That's fine. Let's go south so you can show you other examples as well. I think that's where you have the ball. Sometimes when I navigate also is, not willing to navigate because you can't go there, even if it's one of the authorized navigation. I can explain why I'm saying that. Is you see in the general guidelines, when I explain the navigation, so it's not the navigation of the sim, the navigation in general, I say the arrow can navigate to cardinal directions, and there is some kind of authorized navigations and bare navigations. And sometimes when I put the authorized navigations and the bare navigations, it's telling me you can't go there, because I think it's confusing versus the example is saying you can't go there, and the part when it actually is not the general guidelines and now the state of the scene, like that's the scene. So let's do one thing here. Take a corn and give to the ball. And while doing that, I can show you how it was looking like back in time. Just a quick pick. You can play the whole game in the kind of OG form. Oh, sorry, we missed the bin normally a cutscene here, but that's fine. So now you see I have fur given by the ball. because the board has been happy with the acorn. So now, so I try to think, I need to swear, but I don't want to too much, so let's say like idiot. Okay? That's the part when I was talking about consequence matters in the presentation. So when you do that, now this is you. Well, this is a picture of you last summer, that's the idea. And this is actually what I was saying when I was a kid. And trust me, when you're 7 in the 80s, you see that on screen, it's scary. So you see what it says, you need to be more polite, here's a picture of you. And now let's say, where am I? Yeah, you see the tone of the game master and all of that, is because this is a special instruction. It's very short, and the difference here, I want the game master to speak rudely and constantly to the hero. So it's changing the tone, because now you're punished because you've been naughty. And there is still a way to get out. Obviously, you need to apologize to exit. But here, what I'm doing is I'm changing literally the persona of the game master by giving it a different way to answer the user. You can go on and on. You can like, you are the idiot. And it could go on and on, so you can play with that as well. Or you can just say sorry, and then you can exit. So let's say, sorry, idiot. Sometimes it works. Here we go. So normally you should not let that go, but it was, I said sorry, and it primed against the insult again. So I'm back in the game here. I can show you a lot of stuff. There is more than to show you that, but maybe I can let you asking questions, and I can maybe through the questions cover different examples that maybe I haven't covered. So if you have any questions. Yeah. So I didn't get to that point. It's a pet project, so I have to balance that. But the idea effectively was to store. I started to do that with that. You see, this is all different prompts we've been. Have some problem with the midget, but that's fine. So yeah, these are the things this is all the different interactions we had, just stored. So my goal, because I still wanted to get there at some point, because testing is very important, you're right, and then testing the repeatability as well. I was going to store that and use that as a data test, as a set of tests, and then making sure that by repeating this prompt again and again, seeing if I have a consistent output. So that's effectively a way to test. There's normally different ways to test LLMs. When you have, especially when you do actions, when you are expecting just a specific keyword, it's easy for you to write just simple unit tests, I would say, verifying that you're getting exit all the time when you give this type of input. When you treat with text, what you can do is use the same LLM or another LLM to judge and tell you if it was the expected output. But usually you want a bigger LLM to do that, to act as a judge, which is smarter, which is able to say, no, your smaller model is just giving you rubbish. It's not what you should be getting from your input. So yeah, when I built that, it was part of the idea to get to the point I can have unit test and then eventually refine the prompt. So coming back to the prompt engineering, that's a good question, in fact. It's an iterative process. You start with something, you get some result, and then you refine, depending on the output you get. What I recommend as well, I've been doing that a lot. I've been using ChatGPT to help me refine the prompt. Now, the problem you have is there is a lot of models. There's literally maybe 10 models, new models every day. These models have sometimes their specifics, and things that are working on some models won't be others. And also depending on the size of the model. If you use with frontier models, big models, usually these kind of things, it's very easy for them to get it right. If you use these smaller models, especially models that's running on your machine, that's where the challenge is bigger, because these models tend to be less smart. Therefore, they are not that good at giving you always what you're expecting as an output based on the instructions. But B-verbose, so depending on the size of the model, but for a 7 billion model, you see sometimes I have a lot of lines. Yeah, it works better. If you explain things well, you need to be clear. You don't need to be very, talk a lot, but you need to be clear in your instructions. And it's fine if you have a lot of instructions. If you've been seeing sometimes you get people being able to get system instructions split out by even frontier models like ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever, you see their system instructions are like crazy big. It's very big. So it's important to state everything for the model to make sure that it's understanding the task. The another way you can take it is give that instruction to a human and see if the human understands the instructions. Because if a human can't understand the instructions, it's probably that your model is not going to be, because we not reached the level of human intelligence at that point. That's another way to actually test better your model, your prompt, ask other people to review it and give you some feedback. But LLMs, particularly like frontier models, very good as well to do back and forth and then refine prompts and ask them, okay, that doesn't work, explain me why, and okay, try that approach instead. Other questions? Yeah? Yeah? Let's try it. Yeah, let's see what happens. Make me a pizza, right? That's what you wanted. So it's not possible here. Okay, how do I make a pizza? Let's leave typos, because normally it's meant to understand with typos. Okay, that's interesting. That I never tried, so thank you for that. Well, I'm quite happy with that. I think it's not as you were maybe thinking. It's effectively not going outside the context and the task, and therefore is not willing to do that. If you ask the normal model, instruct model, the Llama 2.1 model I'm using without this kind of system instructions, I'm pretty sure that works very well. We can try that actually. You can go here and just say, make me a pizza. And here what I'm doing now is just interrogating Llama 3.1 directly. Here we go. So now you have your recipe. Questions? Other questions? Yeah? Yes. Sometimes you're desperate, so you try different things. I'm not going to tell you. Oh yeah, it's going. I think we need to stop that. Okay. So sometimes you try and try and try, and sometimes it doesn't work. So you're like a bit desperate. I remember in some scenes, I literally copy-pasted twice the list of actions, and then it worked. So maybe because it was putting more weight to the same thing, it was saying the same thing multiple times. Okay, maybe that's important. That's probably how the model was behaving. Something I haven't mentioned, but that's important, structure your prompt. You can use things like Markdown. They like bullet points, they like these kind of things. Indentation, it works. It really understands the structure, and this is a sub-part of that. And actually, you can use uppercase words versus lowercase word, because if you really look in tokenizer, you know how the model translates words or tokens, part of words, into tokens. The same word, all in caps, has a different token or a different set of tokens that the same word not in caps. So if you want to say, this is important, I put it in caps, that can help, because effectively that probably has a different meaning in the model, a stronger meaning. I have 38 seconds, so maybe another question? Yeah, okay. Try what, sorry? So I don't get it. No, I never tried that. Okay, that's interesting. Take away from me to explore that. 7 seconds, quick question, last one probably. Anyone? Yeah? Well, that's funny because it's a French game initially, so I wanted to do the same thing in French. So I will try that. Even if you ask an instruction in French, we can try if people are letting me doing that. So, décris la scène. I'm French, by the way. Okay, so it works because obviously Llama models are multilingual. Definitely because I think it's still an English word, but that's something you find more in French, tranquille. So, but yeah, that just works. Thank you. Maybe you send me sometime. I'm not going to just try to get the output in translated, and that should work. Just use that like input in French. Thank you very much.